everybody, and welcome to Nathan on Shuffle. This is the latest episode of New Music Friday, where we talk about the latest prog headlines. It is Friday, January 21st, 2022, and I'm going to tell you guys what's happening in the world of prog, and maybe give some updates on the channel and what you can expect on Nathan on Shuffle for this upcoming week and beyond. So let's get into the news items. So first on the news items is the unfortunate passing of Moron police drummer Thore Pettersen. Really unfortunate in the prog community to have another passing, especially of someone fairly young in the prog community and kind of a young up-and-coming band that was just starting to get a lot of attention and acclaim. Unfortunately, he passed away from injuries sustained in a car accident this past week. The band gave a really nice message on Facebook telling people of the news, how their bandmate and best friend succumbed to his injuries in this car accident. Really sad situation for them. They give a really heartfelt message about how important he was to the group and how this is such a deep hurt for them that they're going through. So it was really sad to hear this, because Moron Police are just a band on the rise, in my opinion. They were doing such great things. This album was the one that really brought them to my attention, A Boat on the Sea. This is a fabulous record that I recommend to everybody. It's just fantastic progressive music with, some kind of catchy pop hooks in the mix, but still complex and interesting music. And so I'm going to spin that album in honor of the band and on honor of their drummer. This is sad news. They also released an EP this past year, Stranger in the High Tide, which was excellent as well. And sounds like they're working on some kind of concept album called Pachinko. I don't know the status of it. At this point, they'll probably need some time to grieve and to kind of deal with this tragic loss for the band. So I don't know the state of things, and it's probably too soon to speculate on it. We don't know. But condolences to the family and to the bandmates, and hopefully that people can remember him fondly. And this, is just an unfortunate event that has happened in the prog world. So I wanted to mention it because they're a band that I really feel close to. So it was pretty sad news to see that this past week. The second headline that I have today is a new single from the Flower Kings called A Million Stars. Now, I love the Flower Kings, of course. They're one of my favorite groups, and they're coming out with a new album on March 4th by Royal Decree, and I'm so excited for it. Anytime they release a new album, I talked a bit on a Jana Reacts episode about comfort prog, and this is kind of the ultimate comfort prog for me. Flower Kings are one of the first bands of this newer era of progressive rock that I really fell in love with. So they always mean a lot to me, and so I'm always really paying attention to what they're doing and what's going on with them. So A Million Stars, there's a video for it. I'll definitely put the link in the description as one of my top 5 new songs of the week that I do in the description, so you can check that out. They kind of talk about it as a little bit more on the accessible side of their sound, but still has that trademark Flower King sound and symphonic textures. Really beautiful song. I really love it. I think it harkens back to some of their classic material, but also has the flavor of some of their latest albums. It's a really pleasant song to listen to. It just really feels really special and just is a good harbinger for the album to come, that hopefully it's going to be something really great and special. So March 4th, I will definitely be covering that album. Definitely excited about it. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be doing a big album rankings type show for the Flower Kings as well around the time of the album's release, maybe a little bit after, so I can kind of let the new album sink in and see where I feel it fits in their discography. I did a show with a fellow YouTuber, Notes Review, where we covered, kind of a tier list Flower Kings thing that we did, where we ranked all of the albums on a tiered schedule. So I've already kind of given a lot of my takes on that episode, but I thought I'd do an official rankings episode for just ordering all the albums and giving my thoughts on their whole discography. So that should be something to look forward to. Like I said, further down the road. Right now I'm working on a Jethro Tull album rankings to come out before that one, so look out for that. But Flower Kings should be coming afterwards. And it sounds like this is going to be a good year for Flower Kings, because they're also, it sounds like Roy Stoll is also working on some newly remastered versions of some of the early Flower Kings albums on CD and vinyl to come out later this year. So that should be really exciting. A lot of their albums are not available on vinyl, so it'd be cool to pick those up. They're kind of a no-brainer purchase for me if those ever become available. So really excited for the Flower Kings, and they have some upcoming shows as well. So this is going to be a good year for them, and I'm really excited for the whole album, and I'll be definitely reviewing it on the channel. So something to look forward to. Headline number 3, a new live video from Big Big Train for the title track from their new album, Welcome to the Planet. I caught this one on YouTube earlier this week. It's a beautiful rendition. What's kind of special about it is that it's the last filmed performance from David Lungden. As I've been talking about, he passed away in this past November. It's kind of touching to see him and to know that that was one of his final performances. But it's a really beautiful video. I would recommend it. It's the song. It's a kind of an acoustic version of the song that's coming out on their new album, which comes out January 28th. So we're coming close to it. It's written by Carly Bryant, kind of a newer member to the group, singer and keyboard player for the group. It was recorded at All Saints Church in Lydd in Kent on October 27th, 2021. Produced, directed, and edited by Tim Sidwell for Toward Infinity, with audio recorded and mixed by Rob Audrey. So, really beautiful track. Really bodes well. There's also some videos they've done on their, YouTube channel, talking through the different tracks on the new album and kind of the inspiration for them and how they feel about them and kind of how they came about. And so that's been a fascinating series. They just released part 2 of that just this past week, I believe. It's really, really cool. I would recommend checking that out. And David Lungden is a part of that. It's basically Greg Sponton, David Lungden, and Carly Bryant talking about these new songs. And a lot of reviews have come out, and everyone's been really positive about the new album. It sounds like it's a really special one. And it's great that David Lungden's legacy kind of carries on with this fabulous final record from him. So really happy that this is happening for the group, and it should be a really, really good special album for everybody. I haven't heard it yet because I don't get early review copies as of yet. I guess I'm not big enough in the review world yet. But I'm going to hear it along with everyone else when it comes out. Still waiting my copy. I pre-ordered the physical version as well, so we'll see when that arrives. I know there's a lot of delays and those types of things, but I'm really excited for that to come in. Really excited for the new record and what's going to be on it. So it's going to be a really good time, and I'll definitely be reviewing it on the channel after its release. So it'll probably be kind of the kickoff to me finally getting back into reviewing new albums, which I hope to do a lot of through this year. I'm really wanting to try to catch a lot of new music and recommend it to everybody and give my thoughts about it. Like I've said before, I'm not really a very super critical person. I'm more just kind of like to talk about music, like to talk about the things that I love and kind of highlight and spotlight the things that are special to me about the music I listen to. So hopefully you guys appreciate that approach, and hopefully that'll be something upcoming that you guys can look forward to, that review. So definitely some interesting things happening in the Big Big Train camp right now, and I'm really excited for the future for them and for the response to the album when it finally drops officially, and so should be really good. Next, at item number 4 here, kind of a cool piece of news here. A new announcement from the band Haken, which is one of my personal favorite bands, a progressive metal band that really has taken the prog world by storm over the past 5 or 6 years, I would say, is when they've really risen in popularity. They announced the return of their original keyboardist, Pete Jones. Their keyboardist has been Diego Tejeda throughout all of their studio albums from Aquarius onward to the latest one, which was Virus. But he has left the group, so they needed a replacement keyboardist to fill that spot. And it seems like the choice is Pete Jones, who was actually in the original group, back kind of before they hit it big, back before they crafted these albums that came out. He was their keyboardist, so they've kind of kept in touch with him. He's performed, I think, with members of the group. I want to say he's on the Nova Collective album, which features lots of members of Haken and kind of more of a jazz fusion-y kind of style. So he's worked with the group on that front, but this is his official return to Haken, so that should be really fun. It seems like his debut will be on their upcoming tour. They had to postpone their European tour, but they are doing a North American tour with Symphony X that seems to be full steam ahead at this point, starting in May in New York City and running through the month into June. So there's definitely dates online to check that out if you're interested in going. Should be a really cool tour. Should be cool to see the return of the original keyboardists, and hopefully this leads to kind of some fun new music from the group. I don't know what they're working on right now, but it sounds like they're pretty excited for what's coming up, so that makes me excited too. So hopefully that'll be fun for the group and produce some really great new progressive material. Headline number 5, I just had to mention, this is a really fun video that I saw come out, Star One, that I've been talking a lot about. This is Arjen Lucassen's project, who's also, of course, the mastermind of Arion. That's kind of his primary progressive project, these concept albums that have a whole multitude of guests and different musicians on them. Star One is kind of his more metal side of what he does, but of course still has some of those progressive flourishes as well, and also has a whole host of guest singers and musicians and all of that stuff. The new album is called Revel in Time, and they just released a video of the title track, which is really fun. And it's a take on Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and the video really embraces that and kind of tells that story and has all the different characters and the time travel mechanism, and it's just really a funny kind of video. The song itself is kind of a harder driving kind of rock song, really fun music, it's catchy, and it's just it was just a real blast to watch. So I definitely recommend looking into that if you're a fan of Arion and Arjen Lucassen and that kind of side, and just progressive metal in general, or kind of zany sci-fi concepts. The whole album features songs based on different sci-fi time travel movies, so it should be a really fun time, and this video kind of shows that it's going to be a fun record. They've released several tracks now. Star One, there's been several tracks from the new album that have been released through videos, and it kind of has a lot of good range and a lot of different things going on, so it's been really promising. I'm really excited. I know I've talked a lot. I feel with a lot of these headlines like I'm talking about the same artists, the same albums that are coming out, but it's fun to kind of get these incremental, news items, this new single, this new, announcement of the tours or whatever, as these bands kind of have these kind of interesting trajectories throughout the year. So hopefully you guys are interested in that. I've pre-ordered the album. I'm excited for it. Definitely will review it and talk about it on the channel. And so that should be a fun one. And then kind of as a bonus headline, I don't want to spend too much time here. There's a new single also from Jonas Lindberg, who's releasing a new album February 18th, which seems very cool progressive rock inspired by Spock's Beard, Flower Kings kind of side of the coin. The single is called Why I'm Here, and it's a beautiful little song. It's a really cool single that I recommend you check out. I'll definitely put it in the description. More in a poppier side of the sound, but also still has those progressive influences. It kind of reminds me of some of the poppier stuff maybe Spock's Beard might do in their heyday. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting here. Some really great playing, some really cool hooky kind of chorus and lyrics. Really like that track, and I think it bodes well. Everything I've heard from this album has been really promising, so it should be a really cool release that I imagine that I'll cover on the channels from kind of a newer artist. So just wanted to briefly mention that. So that's basically the news that I have this week. Some pretty cool and interesting things. Unfortunately, that sad news about Thore Pettersen from Moron Police and his passing, but beyond that, some interesting updates from some great progressive bands that I recommend you guys check out. So as for the channel, I did kind of what I called Prog preview this past week. If you haven't seen that yet, I would recommend checking it out. It's kind of my me talking about anticipated albums that are coming out, a lot of which I've kind of talked about here. The new Flower Kings, the new Star One album, all of those things are mentioned in that video. Beyond just things that I plan to talk about and review, music that I think will be fun this year. Of course, I'm excited for all the little surprises and things that will come out this year as well that I didn't talk about. But these are just kind of the big marquee releases in the progressive rock world that I'm aware of and that I'm excited for. Plus some news about some concerts I'm planning to attend or thinking about attending, and just some updates of what I'm thinking about with the channel moving forward. So check that out if you haven't seen that yet. For next week, I'm planning a big kind of vinyl haul style video. I haven't done that in a little while, so I have a buildup of several records, some that I got over Christmas from my family, some that I've just accumulated over time. So I think that should be a fun little show to kind of show off the vinyl that I've received. I'm trying to kind of be more minimal when it comes to purchasing vinyl, because I feel like I really went overboard last year. So there might not be as many of those style videos as I kind of restrict myself budget-wise, but I think I have a pretty good group of records to kind of show off. So that will be next week's video. Of course, a new Jana Reacts will be out this Sunday. And then the following week after is probably when new reviews will kind of start popping up. There's a pretty strong schedule of new prog albums that are coming out, starting with Welcome to the Planet by Big Big Train, followed by Jethro Tull, The Zealot Gene, which also comes out next week. So those will definitely have reviews and we'll get going. And like I said, there's going to be a Jethro Tull album rankings in a few weeks. I'm still kind of working my way through the albums, so it might be a little ways away, probably a month or so away from release. And so that's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm also planning to work on making a podcast version of this show. A lot of people in the comments have been talking about how they would like the show to be kind of in a podcast format, so they could listen to it as they travel or as they're, doing their commute or just on the road for whatever reason. Sometimes it's hard to pull up a YouTube video while you're on the go, but pulling up a podcast is probably a lot simpler. I played around with creating a podcast. I didn't feel like it worked very well, but this is a little different because this is basically just exactly the same show, but put into a podcast form rather than a whole separate show. So I'm really planning on working on that, getting that out there. Maybe even I'll have this episode maybe be the debut on it. So we'll see. I'm going to be working on that and seeing the process and how I can go about that. So that's what you can come to expect for Nathan on Shuffle. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the channel. I'm really enjoying it. Really enjoying all of the comments. I did release Jana Reacts. We reacted to Nightwish again, which always gets a lot of views and attention. So that was really cool to see all the comments come in and to see how Jana felt about this Nightwish song. So that was really cool. I'd recommend checking that out too if you're interested. I know Nightwish kind of skirts the line of I try to keep things in the progressive family, and that's kind of skirting the line a bit. Maybe you wouldn't consider them progressive rock, but I think some of their more symphonic, longer pieces kind of work a little bit within the prog community. So I think it fits. But anyways, it's been something that my wife's been enjoying, and I kind of wanted to give her that choice. She wanted to do it because it was kind of a birthday present. It was her birthday a couple weeks ago, and that was the song she kind of requested to react to. So, but yeah, a lot of fun stuff going on. I'm really excited. I'm listening to a lot of great music, listening through Jethro Tull albums, which is really fun. I haven't listened to too much new albums for this year quite yet, but I'm starting to kind of accumulate them and look around and see what people are recommending. It's early, so there's not much out there quite yet, but it's coming. I can tell there's some big releases coming up. So hopefully you guys are enjoying the music out there. Hopefully you're having a lot of fun, and that's all I really ask, is that you guys keep listening to music. Tell me what you guys are listening to and what you guys are enjoying. I'm always happy to hear, and this is the show where I share my musical tastes, and I wouldn't mind getting feedback of what your guys' musical tastes are lately and what you guys have been enjoying. Thank you guys again for all you do for the channel. I'm grateful for all my subscribers, for all the people that watch these videos regularly and like the videos. I really appreciate all of that response. It's really, really great, and I've been feeling really positive about it lately. So thank you guys so much, and I just hope you guys have a great week, and I'll see you hopefully in another video. So see you guys later. Bye.